And in my vision, the little princess has no legs. She is enthroned in the pitiless culture of a time. And I presented her as the mascot for the king's rule. And then we go to more pleasant things. In 1990, I began, in 1987, Witkin was able to arrange with Sèvres in Paris so that the gallerists from his gallery would each be given a series of plates, 13 numbered examples, to actually decorate in their own way. So these are 3 examples of the plates that I made. And they're all about kind of the work I would be making at the time. I never got around to finding a woman with 4 eyes, but you know, that's in the future perhaps. And then the work in Mexico, in 1990, this is a man who is actually a very big famous actor and comedian in Mexico. And I went there. He was born to see him, to convince him to be photographed and to come up with an idea. And he was born without arms or legs. And his sister feeds him, clothes him, washes him. And I was able to take into Mexico the legs of a huge elk that my brother-in-law had shot with a bow and arrow. And I saw them and I had the legs taxidermed. And I was very lucky to get those past the border police, but I did. And I made this photograph of him as a god of nature. This is Man with Dog. And she was the most beautiful pre-op transsexual I've ever seen. Medically, I must tell you that there's only less than 5% of transsexuals who are pre-op that become post-ops. So that's very, very key. Later on, I'll show that I rephotographed the same person 26 years later. And this is Feast of Fools, Mexico too. And I was in a forensic morgue in Mexico City, and a doctor was pulling out these steel drawers and showing me bodies that I'd in terrible shape. But then he pulled out a drawer that had evidence of crimes, massacres, shootings, all kinds of stuff, severed arms and legs. And for me, it was besides the odor was so almost overwhelming. That I almost passed out, but I was challenged to make this scene of hell as a meaningful photograph. So the next day I went back and bought fruits and vegetables, and it took me about an hour to arrange the specimens and clean them beforehand. And I came up with this still life. Basically, the meaning of the still life is the history of our own violence. This is a Man Without a Head, and the story here was that I was in an Eastern European country, and a pathologist called me up, and he said that his staff had removed the head of this giant man, and would I be interested in seeing him? I said, I'm on my way. I went there with a camera, a tripod, and some cloth. I didn't know what to expect. But it took 4 of us to move this guy onto the chair. The head was removed, which is a fairly common procedure because the doctors want to study the heads, teach about what goes on, etc. And the great thing about this man is that he was actually helping me make the photograph. I had to, once he was sitting in the chair, I had to basically move his right and left hands because he kept falling off the chair. So it was helping me basically stay there for me to make the photograph. And basically, it's a portrait without a face. Can't see that. Okay, now. This is in Marseille, and this is centaur in the Museum of Love. And I was asked to photograph there. I could photograph anything I wanted, but I said, I don't want to photograph what's being shown. I want to find out what you have in the back rooms and put something together. And took me 4 days to find the skeletons and the monkey and the wings. And it was, I think, one of my most poetic images. I can't still get over the hands of the human skeleton, how delicate they moved. It shows the consciousness of the person in life, I think, and also whoever was the technician that put the skeleton together. It's very impressive. This is in Bogota, and it's called Marriage Bogota. And it's about what women contribute to marriage, including their lives. Whereas the man is dressed in sneakers and a rented tuxedo. This is in Berlin, and this is Beauty Has Three Nipples. I found this Russian woman who was incredibly beautiful. And before I went to Berlin, I stopped off in Paris, and for some reason, intuitively, I bought that ship with sails. And I was able then to use this as a crown on the many, I think there were 4 wigs we actually put together on her hair, because she is in the form of Lucretia about to kill herself, but that wasn't enough for me. I had to make her as a Venus of my own aesthetic Parthenon. So having a background in sculpture, I was able to, very nicely, to make a mold of her nipple, and then make 2 casts of the nipples.